First Worldcup in 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Nochmal? Und jetzt? Ja, okay. Muss ich. So viele Frauen? Keine Ahnung.
Ça va? Good.
Welcome to Laplagne in France, the sliding venue for the 92 Winter Games hosted by Albertville. We are high in the French Alps, 1,800 meters above sea level, in the shadow of the massive Mont Blanc. And this tight, demanding, busy drivers' track is the venue for the first race this season of the Women's Monobob World Cup. 15 sleds, among them 5 drivers making their Monobob World Cup debut. One of them is a multiple Olympic champion. We'll get to that in a minute. What about this track then? Well, 1,500 meters, a whisker over, and 19 corners. maybe the longest straight is actually down to turn 1. Very long, very flat start area. Takes a long time to go over the brow. You've got to be loading by there, in and into this little dink of corner 1. Try and avoid tapping the wall. Little slight left at 2, and then again at 3. Not much pressure here. Very easy to skid, particularly in these monobobs. And then 180-degree omega corner at turn 4. Little dink down through 5. That's where the luge comes in on the right-hand side. Corner 6. Another big tight parabola with a really hard take on just here into 8. Then out of corner 10 through 11. And then corner 12, another big pressure corner here. Try and keep an even parabola. Lower labyrinth, 13th, 14th corners. And then turn 15, another big landmark corner. And then 16, more than 180-degree turn. Through 17, this is flat now, very fast, keep the speed alive, climbing uphill into 18, and then uphill again through 19 rather, to the finish line. And a really easy place below 16 to give away speed and time. And as you saw from the graphics, the start record set by Andrea Grecu of Romania, she's in our field, and the downtime record by serial winner Brianna Walker. Brianna Walker also in the field for Australia. Well, here are your selection of Team Germany brake women. We won't be using them for pushing the sleds in the monobob. It is drivers only. Lonely Bob, as it's been christened. And there is Lara Nolte, who is one of the German drivers. And Alana Myers-Taylor. Welcome back to World Cup racing to Alana Myers-Taylor, here with both her kids. So she has got a very, very busy schedule. I mean, incredibly busy. So great to see her back in the fold as well. Bianca Ribby for Canada, she'll be part of our lineup. So we have a 15 sled field. First off, in the first race of the season is Poland's debutante Linda Wyszewski. Margot Bock, the French driver, and Alana Myers-Taylor also making their World Cup debuts. And further down in the field, a monobob World Cup debut for Giada Andreuti, who raced here in women's bob, and for Keisha Love, who in the Olympics was on the brakes for Kaylee Humphries. She makes her driving debut. Apologies for the appalling voice. I mean, that's a given, but today even more croaky and ratchety than ever. As we get ready to start the Monobob World Cup. Monobob and women's bob did not race in Beijing. There will be a double monobob weekend next week in Innsbruck, but it is Poland's 24-year-old driver Linda Wyszewski who gets us underway for the season. She makes her World Cup debut. Her first bobsleigh race back in November 2019. Started driving monobob in November 2021, so just 2 years ago. She was racing in the Europe Cup last year, had a series of podiums in monobobs, so she's definitely got ability. Sled looking nicely under control at the moment. There's that little drifty, skiddy nature that you'll get off a lot of these turns here. It's a very busy driver's track, and with a light weight all up of the monobob, just one athlete in it, of course. So the driver does all the pushing. It does make them skid around a little. Looks like she's really got a handle on this sled. It's a nice looking run. When they get out of shape, they can be hard to control here in 16. Neat and tidy exit. And a 17 into corner 18. Oh, came down a little early in 18. Big skid and a hit on the wall. Through 19, a never-ending run uphill to the line. It's a 1:04.97. She starts her career with a track record. Well, that is the way to go. 7:09 the start. 7:01 is the start record, so that is definitely going. And those records were set in March 2020. That will have been in a Monobob International Series race, not in World Cup racing. Well, some nice driving lines. Welcome to the World Cup to Poland's Linda Wyszewski. That's the major error, really, coming out of 16. It's very easy to bring the sled down easy. We saw that a lot yesterday in the skeleton races, but she starts her career on TV with a track record. Bruno Mijon in the, beg your pardon, Max Robert in the red hat, the French coach for Margot Bock, the 24-year-old. 8 Europa Cup podiums, including 2 wins in her monobob career. She's not raced World Cup monobob up to now. Bruno Mijon on the right-hand side there. The French legends coaching the French and Monegasque team. 7:05. We're getting close to the start record. Well, Margot knows this track well. Dad is the mayor of Laplagne. She grew up on this ice, so this is a great opportunity to start the season with a really confident run. Better speed at the moment than we saw from Linda Wyszewski. And making this look very easy to do. It is far from that. 2700s up, she's on new track record pace. Where is the record going to finish, I wonder? It was a 65.35. It could be down to 63s by the time we've got through 2 heats, maybe lower than that. Half a second up, great exit off 16, right down the middle of the tubes. 116.2, 72 miles an hour, ducks ahead, 104.06. Bruno Mijon there on the left, Max Robert, his former brakeman, 64.06. All right, we're nearly in the 63s already. 2 sleds, 2 track records. Next up is Alana Myers-Taylor, hello start record. Well, great stuff from Margot Bock. And she'll be racing in the women's bob tomorrow morning as well. So a great opportunity as well to kick off that campaign on home ice. Last World Cup racing here for women's bobsleigh was in 2020. So it's a great opportunity for the French teams the French athletes to race on home soil. And bizarrely, for the number of times we've seen Alana Myers-Taylor around, this is her World Cup monobob debut. Start record, 7:01. Oh, ties it. 7:01 for the mum of 2, Alana Myers-Taylor. I'm sure wherever he is back home, Nick Taylor is watching. Hi, Nick. He's now part of the training and physio setup at the Sacramento Kings. So not here on tour. Best speed of all for Alana Myers-Taylor. And the reason this is Alana's World Cup debut in monobob, it won't be her World Cup debut in women's bob tomorrow, is that 2 years ago when she was racing and winning in monobob, it wasn't a World Cup event. It was the International Series. Second best speed and a slender advantage over Margot Bock. And again, 3 seasons since Alana raced. I think she raced here in 2020 in women's bob. I'm gonna have to double check on that. Second best speed's going to be close at the line. Needs a new track record. Does get a new track record. 64.03. Well, ties the start record and sets a new track record. Tough Latour there helping with the sled at the bottom. So Alana Myers-Taylor has the lead of the race from Margot Bock and Linda Wyszewski. Again, a year away from sliding last year. She had her second child. And that is a handful for anybody to be traveling on your own with 2 preschool kids. That's a real handful. Never mind trying to stay fit and healthy, do training, do sled prep, work on the notes, look at the video, all the other stuff. Man. 4th of our 15 sliders this morning, Yingqing of China. 9th in the overall World Cup last year, 9th in the Winter Games in 2022. Bronze medalist in Segulda in February last year. So we know she's got ability. 7:17. It's the least speedy departure so far. Like the other Chinese athletes, has not raced on this track previously. Very few of them have even seen this place. And I know the skeleton team did come for an out-of-season training camp and had a few days here. I don't know that the bobsleigh team have. 3700s back, currently third spot on the splits. So started slower than Linda Wyszewski, but she's driving her way into contention at the moment. This could be good news for her. Still in third place. Coach Yanis Minins knows this place very well. He's been coaching drivers here a long time, raced it himself. 5300s back in third place. So Ying Ching relying on that knowledge. When you've not raced it yourself, you have to go with what the coaches tell you and then translate that into, there's Yanis at the back, into your own kind of ability to get down the track. Again, you can see some of the transitions here are really hard on, hard off. I mean, very severe. Even at low speed, some of the corners are real flick on, flick off stuff. And you can see the sled really getting moved around. Here at higher speed, the corners are more open, further down the track as you go, below about corner 12. But the top section, the first dozen turns are pretty tight. Next up, Lauren Alter, our world champion. She won the Monobob race here in 2020 in the International Series. 7:06 getaway. Beg your pardon, she won here in the two-women bob, not monobob, in 2020. She's got the ability. And as you always see, the pink gloves on her sled, you've got the pink highlights marking it out. So although it's got the same yellow foundation as the rest of the German teams, Lauren Alter always with those pink highlights. Nice stuff. Good lines from Lauren Alter, within a few hundreds of Alana Myers-Taylor. Battle is on, isn't it? 500s back, second best speed. That's second best to Margot Bock, who was quickest at the bottom. Alana was losing ground at this stage. Gap's coming down 400ths of a second. And the gap between the penultimate intermediate and the line is a yawning chasm of time. 200s back. We have a race on our hands. 64.05 plays 64.03 of Alana Myers-Taylor. Margot Bock 64.06. Nella Scoyton there, who is one of the brake crews. Has had a lot of success with Laura. She's at the back of the sled. So brake women helping out sled dogging today. This was nice looking lines from Lauren Alter. Didn't have the speed at the start of Alana Myers-Taylor. And 100 slower than Margot Bock. But she's in there fighting. Top three covered by 300ths of a second. So Alana Myers-Taylor, our early leader here in Laplagne. Melanie Hassler of Switzerland now, 25 years old. Top four results last season in the World Cup in Lake Placid and in Whistler. Fifth in Sigulda. Has not raced on this track. So let's see what she can produce. 6.95, there we go. That is an enormous start from Melanie Hassler. And that gives her a real great opportunity now to put the cat among the pigeons. She's yet to claim a medal in the Monobob World Cup. She has medalled in women's bob, but not in the World Cup yet, and this is a fantastic opportunity. Fifth in the overall rankings last season. This is her 8th Monobob start, so she didn't complete all of the races last year, did 7 of the 8 last season. Looking to do the full season this year. 200s back, she's in there swinging. Only the 4th best speed, not going to be in the top 2 at the line. 4th, 1500s back. Well, top half of the track was really clean, but then below corner 12, just drifted away a little. Well, she's only 1500s back. She could take a medal from there. 1200s out of the bronze medal position at the moment. She's got such a strong start. She is a good driver, still relatively new in her career, or relatively young in her career. The badge on the white part of the sled there, the St. Moritz Bob Club. They are building the track as we speak. I'm sure they'll be out with the diggers and the shovels and the hoses again today. The Olympia Bob Run under construction. Next up, Lisa Buchwitz for Germany. The 29-year-old former champion brakewoman. Claimed bronze in the World Championship. Oh, doesn't get in. Oh, does get in the end. 686. Oh, my goodness. Well, that's why she was such a successful brakewoman. And she didn't have any kind of a panic, but oh, huge skids here. Maybe there is just a little bit of frustration creeping in. Monster start. 1500s up to 800s up. She'll be in the red at the next split. In fact, she's not. She's dead level with Alana Myers-Taylor, but those skids early on, and again they're robbing her of speed. 500s back. She could be back behind Melanie Hassler. Fairly sure she will be at the bottom. Only the 5th best speed, and a little rocky on the exit there. Oh dear. Not the first run of the season that Lisa Buchwitz would have been hoping for. Head down out of the airstream, using all the tricks in the armory to try and cheat the wind. 5th place, 3900s back. Okay, so that's quite a big margin back, considering she started 1500s quicker than anybody else. 64.42. She'll be very disappointed with that. I don't know quite. Let's take a look from behind as well as she gets in. See, there's a tiny little seat, and she's actually not dropped in front of it. She's dropped in behind it. And the seat back is, I don't know, maybe, what, sort of 5 centimetres, 6 centimetres high. It's a tiny little crescent of carbon fibre that just you press the back of your buttocks against. It's not an actual seat in any nominative way, but she didn't get in cleanly, and that cost her. Now then, 686 is the start record. I say that because here's another start monster, Cynthia Appiah, 3rd in the overall World Cup standings, 5 medals in 8 races last year. 8th in the Winter Games in Monobob, hasn't raced here. 400s back, 697. So I was expecting her to be down in the 8s. 400s up on Alana Myers-Taylor. So she and Lisa Buchwitz and Melanie Hassler starting in the 6s. Hassler starting at 695 is 4th. And Sin, what's she got here? Out of 10. Into corner 12. Trying to keep a nice level line. Good square exit, that was nice. Little bump 13 to 14. And again, hard take on. Here's 16. Big double pressure corner. Get the exit clean into 17. And then corner 18. And this long, slightly uphill straight into corner 19. Climbing now towards the finish line. Only a 7th best speed. 6th at the line, behind Lisa Buchwitz by 700s. Cynthia with 4 bronze medals, 1 silver medal last year in 8 starts. So she's definitely got medal winning potential in the Monobob, but does not know this track well. Next week, it'll be double Monobob weekend in Innsbruck. Now, that is a track that she knows better, and her huge starting ability there should definitely help her. Pretty decent exit, just got a little bump there from a random bit of ice on the track. Not too bad at all. So Cynthia Appiah lies in 6th place. Next up is her Canadian teammate, Bianca Ribby, 27 years of age, won the season opener last year in Whistler, the first ever Women's Monobob World Cup race. This was your winner. Let's see what she's got here at the start. 7:15, that's very respectable indeed for Bianca. Again, hasn't raced here. Very few of these drivers have been around long enough to have raced here back in 2020, as drivers anyway. Pretty likely at Lisa Bukvitz was here in the back of a sled. Bianca Ribby, 1400s back early on, still in 8th place, 8th best start. So started a whisker slower than Yingqing of China, but she's out driving the Chinese athlete as she moves up to 7th place on the splits, chasing down teammate Cynthia Appia. This could be a good little inter-team battle, races within races. They're always there, little tap at the bottom. To 19, 4th best speed, top 6 run, 7th by 200ths of a second behind Cynthia Appia. There's Lyndon Rush in the centre, who's coaching the Canadians. Always great to see Lyndon around. 64.51 to 64.49 of her teammate, who started 22 hundredths faster and came down only 2 hundredths in front. Great to see the slow motion on these sleds. You see how much the runners have to work to stay on the ice, or how hard it is to keep the runners on the ice. Laying ice flat when you are making an ice hockey or a curling rink is one thing. Getting smooth ice when you're trying to get it to set on a downhill run, that's a different thing. Now then, here is our former start record holder, Andrea Grecu. 7:01 was the start record that she set in 8th of March 2020. And the 29-year-old Romanian, that was in the Monobob Europe Cup. She finished in 5th and 2nd. Second to Brianna Walker in the second of the races. 6:89, so she's found a big chunk of time compared to her previous best of 7:01. Anybody's previous best of 7:01. Familiar blue sleds with the Romanian colours on that we see so often over the years. Paul Niagu, again, the driving force of this Romanian team, based in Winterberg. 1200s ahead of Alana Myers-Taylor at the start, still has a slender lead over Alana. That's gone away now. Alana's driving has not suffered, it seems, from a year away from the ice. That's me, but still very competitive. Andrea Grecu, European silver medalist in women's bobsleigh a few years back, within 500ths of a second of the lead. This is a really nice looking run from Andrea Grecu. Across the line, 1400ths back. There's Paul Niagu, yes, absolutely. That is a good run. 100th ahead of Melanie Hassler of Switzerland. She's 1100ths out of the medals, but in the top half of the track, top 2/3 of the track, down to about corner 15, she was right in there in the top 2 or 3. Little late flop there, just a fraction. We're talking hundredths of a second difference in where you steer. Again, look at the head. The human body is remarkable. The head remaining so level as the sled moves around underneath it. There's Andrea Grecu. So Alana Myers-Taylor still leads a very tight top 3. Andrea Grecu slips in front of Melanie Hassler for 4th. 10 down, 5 to go, and we now get to the Europe Cup winner here. The last time they raced in 2020, Brianna Walker, and the Aussie made her first ever Euro Cup race start here 6 years ago. 6:88 getaway. 22 podiums, including 12 wins in women's monobob under her belt. She may not be the Olympic champion, she may not be the world champion, but boy, Brianna Walker knows how to get a monobob down a mountain fast. 1300ths ahead of Alana Myers-Taylor at the start. She's added to that. The gap's out to 1800ths of a second. 1400, so it's coming back. Alana's driving ability definitely is absolutely as good as it was. 1100ths of a second, only the 5th best speed for Brianna Walker. Can the Aussie make it into the lead at the line? 700ths of a second. This is going to be very tight. It's a long run down. She gets a good exit out of 18. Only the 8th best speed. She won't be the leader at the line, but it's 200ths back. She's tied for second with Lara Nolter. On the left, Pierre Luders still coaching her. They hooked up together last year. It was a very successful combination. And Brianna Walker, 64.05. Tying for second place. Still looking for that first World Cup win. The Aussie, but she has World Cup silver medal and a bronze medal under her belt from last year's races. This is only her 5th World Cup monobob race, so she only did 4 races last year, had 2 podium finishes out of them. She had 2 wins on this track back in 2020 in monobob. And a double race weekend for Europe Cup. And this is where she made her Europe Cup debut. Her first international bobsleigh race was here 6 years ago. So it's a track she definitely gels with. Now on the opposite end, probably, of the scale in terms of performance of experience here is Wai Mingming of China. 6th in the monobob Olympic race. Does not have the biggest start. This is only her 5th monobob World Cup race as well, only did half of the races last season. 7:07 start. That's going to leave her at a little bit of a deficit to a number of those around her. Oh, and a little tap early on as well. That was a fairly substantial 2-bunk biff. A little tap there as well, going into 6. Down to the big corner 10. Right-handed dink at 11 into 12. Trying to keep it down the middle of the track. This is not looking too bad at all. 10th on the splits from the 9th best start. At the moment, she's ahead of teammate Ying Qing. Now she's dropping behind her teammate. So in the battle within the race for being the best of the Chinese, at the moment Ying Qing is the better of the duo. And Wai Mingming comes down, what's that, 2700ths behind her. So 64.83.
507 push.
It's going to be a busy weekend in Innsbruck for our female bobsleigh pilots, because they'll be doing double duty. The race on Friday in monobob, and then again on Sunday morning, and it'll be women's bob on Saturday. So 3-race weekend. It's going to be hard yards, and then in Sigulda it'll be double women's bob. Kim Kilicki next up. 4th in the overall World Cup standings, hasn't raced here. 2 medals last season, a silver and a bronze. So she should be in the frame. 7:11 the getaway for Kilicki. But it's her ability to drive the sled down that should get her back into contention. It was only the 11th fastest start. It's going to take a while before that speed picks up. 102 kilometers an hour is 86 miles an hour. 68 miles an hour. Kim Kilicki into the top 10, but again now dropping back. A few little rocky transitions here are costing her time, costing her speed. On the split times, only 11th place at the moment for Kilicki. 2 kilometers an hour down in terms of top speed. Ducking ahead will gain her another couple of hundreds. But a 64.78 is not going to put her too far up the order. Kim Kalicki between the two Chinese sliders. So Ying Qing in 10th and Wai Ming in 12th. Kim Kalicki 500ths ahead of Wai. Allows the sled to drop maybe just a little more than would be ideal, keeping an even parabola. It's a kind of a payoff between covering more ice as you go up and down, but allowing the sled to be free, or holding it on the line and creating a little bit more friction. Next up for Italy, one of our 5 World Cup Monobob debutantes, Giada Andreuti. She raced in the Monobob World Series. She's done 24 Monobob races, but not in the World Cup. 15th in the Winter Games, 15th in the World Champs in Monobob in St. Moritz last year. And she had Europe Cup Monobob Gold in Sigulda in January of this year. Giada Andreuti did race here in women's bobsleigh in February 2020 when we were here last, so she's got some knowledge of the track. The 28-year-old adding to her knowledge of bobsleigh over the last 3 or 4 seasons since she arrived on the scene. 14th at the start with a 7.64, still 14th in the splits. Seventh best speed. That's very promising. If that's correct, she could close up here. Long skid though. Eighth best speed. Is she going to manage to pull herself ahead of Linda Wyszewski? She does not. 65.48. Beard is obviously making a reappearance among coaches. So Giada Andreuti, 14th out of start shed, 14th at the finish line. She has made her World Cup Monobob debut. So her 25th mono race is her first in the World Cup. Big oscillations there in corner 6. I beg pardon, corner 8, 9 and 10. Sitting still quite a long way back, but still quite high. Simone Bertazzo there, one of the coaches. And finally, Keisha Love. First time we have seen her driving a bobsled. This is her Monobob debut. She's had 4 Monobob races since November 2022. And she was 2nd and 1st in Lake Placid in the North America's Cup Monobob races in November. 6.80, new start record for Keisha Love. Well, Keisha, hugely successful brakewoman in a relatively short career with the USA. World Championship bronze with Kaylee Humphries, Kaylee Armbruster Humphries as she now is, in St. Moritz. 3 World Cup wins and a bronze medal with Kaylee last season as well. Whoa, rocking and rolling. Driving since the end of the Winter Games in 2022, combining her driving career last year with her braking career. And she has the lead. She started 2100s in front. She remains 2100s in front. This is an epic debut from Keisha Love. Absolutely fantastic stuff. She looks like she's been doing it all her life. Okay, the speed has gone away at the bottom. She may not have the lead at the line, but what a great drive from Keisha Love. Fantastic. 5th, a 10th of a second from the lead. Well, there's no question that the start helps, but you can set me off with a 6.80 and I'm not coming down a 10th behind Alana Myers-Taylor. That's a brilliant drive from Keisha Love. 64.13. Well, Little late flop there. You see the sled rocking and rolling in case you get bounced around. That takes speed out of the sled, and it's a couple of those below corner 12, before corner 15 that really cost her. And again, the big oscillation here in 16, covering a bit more ice. Nice work indeed. She rounds out our first heat. And it is Alana Martin. You could recognise that the pushing style of Alana from the International Space Station, couldn't you? She's so distinctive in her technique. Alana Myers-Taylor, she has the lead off the 7th best start. She is our race leader. But oh boy, what a tight lead battle we've got. 4 sleds covered by 300s, and then a 10th back is 4th, 1400s back is 5th, 1500s back, I beg your pardon, is 6th, and 1500s back is 7th place. So, yeah, throw it all up in the air and see what happens. Somewhere from those 7, we're going to get a podium. Who is going to come out on top? Well, right now, the top 4, that's a dead heat. 300ths of a second is neither here nor there in this sport. It's absolutely a dead heat. Going to be interesting as well. Cynthia Appia, Bianca Reeby, Yingqing of China. Those 3 sleds covered by just a scant few hundredths, less than a 10th of a second between the 3 of them. So it could be all sorts of changes there. And to find out who comes out on top, you can join us for our second and deciding heat. That will be at 10:30 local, 09:30 GMT, which is 04:30 Eastern, which Ken Chard stands for. Oh, really? Is it still that early? Yes, it is. We'll see you then. Till then, bye for now.